This event is one of our favorite events. It's certainly an up event when we get to celebrate not only the accomplishments of our students, but the generosity of our alumni who really make the difference in propelling Brooklyn Law School forward. It is a truly great law school. I just returned from a trip to California for a week where I was meeting with alumni, prospective students. And it's worth mentioning. It is astonishing how the legal and business communities are dominated in Los Angeles and San Francisco by graduates of Brooklyn Law School. I mean, it is jaw-dropping. We had a wonderful event at O'Melveny, hosted by one of our speakers tonight, Warren Lazaro. And we had an incredible event in Los Angeles in a packed SRO room where, if your lawyer was not present at that gathering, then you're a C-lister. And they represent them too. So it was really an amazing thing. You all should be very, very proud. And we're really on the move. Now, this is another particularly happy event today because I'd like to begin by calling your attention and giving a nice warm welcome to a very special person who's in the back row. He's not going to stand up, but he's going to throw a wave. Professor Joe Crea. Joe. Just give us a wave, Joe. Don't stand up. There he is. So Joe turns 100 years young in April. He's going strong. And he's got more sense than most of us. He stayed away while the ice was out, but now he's back. And we expect and hope to see a lot of him, a lot more of him. I'll also mention that we have an event June 11th, mark it in your calendars, on Ellis Island, where we're going to begin a period of celebrations of how far this law school has come and where it's going. And we're going to be celebrating iconic figures in the history of Brooklyn Law School, like Joe Crea at Ellis Island. So you'll be getting invitations and more information, but it's June 11th, Thursday night. We're going to have motor launches. It's going to be a spectacular event. Music, food, drink, great company, videos, a great location, and I probably won't be speaking much. So I'll bring you all there. You know who I am. I'm the President and Dean of Brooklyn Law School, Nick Allard. It's a great privilege to be with you here. I can't tell you the personal pride I feel getting to serve this law school community and see the great things that are accomplished here. I will tell you that the greatest thrill, really, is to engage with our students. I would not trade one of our students for any other student anywhere else, and I really mean that. I know our faculty feels that way. I think it's worth mentioning also that we lost a great teacher, somebody who had an impact on generations of students. He was Professor Bob Pittler, whose nickname, with affection, was widely known and used among students and alumni. His nickname, Pitbull. He endured heroically and battled a long illness for almost 2 years. He passed this Sunday. We're going to be having a memorial program, a celebration of his life, in the Moot Court Room on Monday, April 27th, and that'll be, I think, a very uplifting remembrance of all the Bob's qualities and his idiosyncrasies and all the rest. So I just mentioned that. He was a great one, and I know that with Bob, as I was saying, students came first and always. He was extremely dedicated to his students. I'm happy to see so many familiar faces in this crowd. I also am glad to see some new ones. We have some new folks that are here tonight participating. Last year's this event, I said you should stay tuned We were about to make an announcement about our tuition policy that would advance the national dialogue on access to legal education in a dramatic way, and we did, and it did. We announced that in addition to our other efforts to make law school education more affordable, that we are cutting tuition 15%. That's a huge step. And that is in combination to below-market housing guaranteed to all first-year students who want it in this building, in this beautiful building. These are not dormitories. They're apartments. They're residences. They're extremely nice. The biggest trouble I have the first week of school is that when parents drop their students off, they want the kids to go home. The parents want to stay. We've extended our loan repayment program after students graduate for those who aren't able to find jobs or have jobs in the public sector or elsewhere that are not high-paid jobs. So all the way around, and I want you to all to know that the only way we're able to accomplish this and set a very important dialogue, this is not a Brooklyn issue, it's not a New York issue. This is an issue of national importance because we actually need more quality new lawyers. I mean, if you just look at what's going on in the world, from the distress and the concerns over racial and social justice and all the new strains on the economic system that raises new legal issues, from the increasingly borderless world that we live in and to the new economic innovations and biomedical innovations that raise legal issues. We need more, not fewer, good lawyers. And if law schools were to continue to price themselves out of business, that's not what we would be having. So Brooklyn decided to go another way, but the only way we were able to do this and become a national leader and recognized as a national leader, in the National Jurist magazine, which is available today, they've got a big story I was just reading. They feature Brooklyn Law School as one of the 22 schools, but it happened largely after we, suggested that you could do that without being accused of being filing's basement, or being desperate. And we did it for the right reasons, and I think there'll be more of that. So your support is what made that possible, and I'm going to ask the faculty and all of us and all the students here to give a round of applause to our alumni who made our leadership on this important issue so possible. Thank you very much. So, in order for us to have some time for our students and donors to talk with each other, which we hope that you do, and I'm sure it's fun and interesting for the students to meet the donors and the donors to meet the students, I'm just going to call your attention to the descriptions of the scholarships that are in the program and have you read those. There were, however, 5 new scholarships awarded this year. Their names and descriptions are located in the front of the program, and as I recognize the people who made these scholarships possible, please rise or give a wave. Steve Elbaum, class of 1974, his wife Judy, and their son Lawrence, class of 2005, join us tonight to celebrate the new scholarship that Steve and his classmate, Bruce Fader, created together. The recipient tonight is Justin Druk. Justin? There he is. Give us a wave. Okay. And Steve and Judy and Lawrence, you're here someplace, aren't you? Okay. Well, they're caught in the Holland Tunnel or something. We'll see. Jay Fialkoff, class of 1976, and his wife Iris. They're helping to award their scholarship, the Omer Foundation Scholarship, and this year's recipient is Gabriel Guimares. Gabriel. Stand up, Gabriel. Howard Rothman, class of 1971, his wife Joan are here to help award their new scholarship. The recipient is Max Borg. I'd also like to note that Howard recently facilitated a $1 million grant from the Taft Foundation to launch a really important new clinic at the law school that serves the legal needs of adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. The clinic launched this spring under the leadership of Professor Natalie Chin, and the students are busy providing a spectrum of much-needed legal services for their clients who are adults because of the miracles of modern medicine, are surviving, and they're surviving and out-surviving their caregivers and the people that help them navigate all the legal complexities of the healthcare system. So this is a very innovative clinic, which is becoming a template for others to follow. And again, the law school in the nation's service is serving a very important purpose. We have a number of trustees who are here tonight, and they deserve a lot of credit because they have driven us in a very prudent and responsible way, but to do new things. Business as usual is not an option, so I see Marty Fisher here from the board. Marty. I see Bernie Anderson, Burnside Anderson, Fred Cohen. Fred's in the back there. Nobody makes Fred sit in the back, right? Come on up here. And who am I missing? Any other trustees who are here? Okay. So now we're going to get to the main event. First, Phyllis Besson is here to celebrate the scholarship created in memory of her husband, Martin Besson, a member of the great class of 1954. Family friend Susan Tulloch is also here. Where are the Bessons? Where are you here? And then the recipient, who give us a wave, is Christopher Conroy. Christopher? There he is. Oh, and there you are. Thank you. The friends and family of the Bertram Bronzaff class of 1961 established a scholarship in loving tribute to Bert, his wife, Arlene, their daughters, Robin and Susan. Susan's a member of the class of 1991. Brian, their grandson, Brian, and their son-in-law, Michael. They're all here and joined us tonight. Where are you all? There you are, the whole light up here. We've got a whole, that's fantastic. And it looks, Bert's sister-in-law, Janet, is here, and her son, Stuart. So that's the whole row there. And I guess you also have found Lauren Price and Amanda Shapiro, who are the recipients this year. They're both here. Richard Greenberg is here to help us award the scholarship created in memory of his wife, Professor Eve Carey, a member of the faculty for over 20 years. Richard? Liana Marie Lien is this year's recipient. Liana? There she is. Congratulations. Marcia Heimowitz Myers and Stephen Myers are here to help us bestow the scholarship created in memory of Mindy Heimowitz Sela, a member of the class of 1991. Guy Regev is the recipient. Where are all of you? They're right here. Okay, there they are. Where's Guy? Is Guy here? Okay. We don't take it back if he's not here, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, Joe, I'm not going to ask you to stand up again. Professor Joe Cray, a member of the class of 1947 and a member of the faculty for over 60 years, 60, is here to celebrate the scholarship named for him and his late wife, Regina. Holly Pertese is the recipient. Holly? Holly, I can tell you personally, being the Joseph Crea Dean, that it's great to have Joe Crea's name associated with yours. It's a very special thing. I introduced Martin Fisher. You know that Marty is here, a member of the class of 64 and a member of the Board of Trustees. He's here to award 2 scholarships, the Susan and Martin Scholarship, and in addition, the one that the Fishers created in honor of former Brooklyn Law School librarian Lucy Giroux. The recipients are Scott Rudin and Amanda Barfield. Scott and Amanda. There they are. Okay. You can't. Are you going to be a courtroom lawyer? Or you blush pretty easily. You know, you have to work on that. Okay. Jeffrey Frichelli, who's also a member of the Board of Trustees, I should have introduced. He may not be here now. He might have been caught in traffic. He's here tonight, or he will be, and he'll help award his scholarship. The recipient is Michael Broadleib. Also mentioned that at the Italian Law Students Association gathering last year, Jeffrey announced another scholarship to honor a worthy student of Italian heritage, and so he's contributed in that way as well. Richard Schneier, class of 1971, is here to celebrate the scholarship he created in honor of Judge I. Leo Glasser, a member of the class of 1948 and a former dean of the law school. Ruhi Gupti is this year's recipient. Ruhi? Where are you? Let me stand up. Okay, I can barely see you back there. Okay, there you are. All right. Thanks, Ruhi. Congratulations. Judge Glasser, Ruhi, is a remarkable man, and I was at last night's celebration of the 150th anniversary of the Eastern District of New York. He is one of the 5 judges who served in battle in World War II. And they showed a video talking about some of the great cases and historical moments, and he's prominently featured in speaking. It was a wonderful occasion, so you should be extremely proud to be associated with the name of I. Leo Glasser, who is one of those unique people who's both got his head in the clouds as a scholar and his feet firmly on the ground. Amy Gluckman and Robert Danzig join us here tonight to honor the memory of Arthur Gluckman, a member of the class of 1982. This year's recipient is Stephen Tiley. Stephen? There he is. Neil Goldstein, who's done so much for the law school, a member of the class of 1967, and his wife Linda are here to award the scholarship created in memory of his parents. I saw Neil in the back. Neil, give us a, there he is. There they are. Good to see you. We were just at their house for an alumni event they hosted. He opened up his fine cellar and his single malt scotch to some lucky recipients with their great views of Lincoln Center from his place. They're very, very generous to the law school. They're here to help award the scholarship created in memory of his parents, Hyman, a member of the class of 1931, and Bessie Goldstein. Steen. You know, what do you expect from an ex-Catholic altar boy, or an ex-altar boy still Catholic? Sorry about that. Goldstein. Stein. Veasmere. This year's recipient is Robert Nelson Sullivan. Robert? Eric Kornblau, who recently concluded a term heading the Alumni Association. A member of the class of 1984, joins us to help award the scholarship that he and his wife, Stacy, also a member of the class of 1984. You see, go to Brooklyn Law School, who knows what you can get out of that. They created that scholarship on their 25th wedding anniversary. So sweet. This year's recipient is Jared Brenner. Jared. And Warren Lazarow, as I mentioned, is here with his wife Barbie, and they're here to award their scholarship. They're sitting in the front row. Give you a wave. They're right over here. We were just with them. They hosted us incredibly hospitable in the Bay Area last week. And Peter Potier is this year's recipient. We will hear from Warren a little bit later in the program. Peter may or may not be here. I know that he has a class from 6 to 8. So very conscientious student. Very conscientious. Michael Markoff, a member of the class of 1990, is here to celebrate the scholarship created in memory of his grandparents, Abraham, class of 1930, and Ruth Markoff. Brendan Gibbons is the recipient. Susan Foster, class of 1987. Susan, where are you? Susan joins us tonight to celebrate the scholarship she and her husband, Pete Foster, created in honor of her grandmother, Marguerite Munger Pete. The recipient is Molly Camion. Molly? David Berger, class of 1989, joins us this evening to celebrate The scholarship created in memory of his mother, Professor Margaret Berger, who was a renowned and exceptional member of the faculty for over 35 years. David, are you here? There he is. David, see. You know, the only thing worse than my spelling is my alphabetizing, so, you know. But I wanted to build up expectations, so we worked you in a little bit later. Your scholarship is going to Christopher Coyne. Christopher? And if you haven't met each other, he's in the back. David Perlman, class of 1964, and his wife Pat are here to celebrate his scholarship, Joshua Zarcone. The recipient could not be here with us tonight, but Perlmans, we thank you very, very much. You know, this is wonderful that there's so many of these, so just hang on here. This is just great. And I will mention as I go through these, when I mention the name and I see the students stand up, I mean, just from the time I've been here, I know how outstanding they are. I mean, the students here are incredible. And it's frequent that I hear alumni say, you know, I can't imagine being admitted. And they mean that genuinely, being admitted this time, you know, having met these students and seeing, you know, the competition and what they're up against. But I'll tell all of you alumni, a dirty little secret, is our students can hardly imagine being you and accomplishing what you all have done. And you're great role models and inspiration. So it's a mutual admiration society. Annette Pertelli and Louise Russo are here to celebrate the Vito Pitta Lamy Labor Law Scholarship. And the recipient is Brian DeShannon. Brian? Judge Louis Rosenthal, class of 1967, is here celebrating his scholarship and the one he created in honor of his father, Irving. The recipients are Aaron Ryan and Jonathan Saltzman. Judge, Aaron, Jonathan. Okay. Thomas and Helen Welling, their son Thomas Jr., a member of the class of 2007, and their daughter-in-law Erin join us tonight to celebrate the Kate Welling Fellowship. Paula Collins is this year's recipient. Paula? Janice Grant, her husband Gary Kupfer, and their friend Marilyn Epstein are here representing the scholarship created in memory of Janice's son, Stephen P. Zinno. This year's recipient is Nicholas Palazzo. Nicholas. Did I get that right? Close enough, right? Okay. Palazzolo. Okay. John Zuckerman, class of 1984, is here to help us award the Jan Adam Zuckerman Scholarship. This year's recipient, Michael Lang, unfortunately could not make it here tonight. I'm thanking also all of you who are here joining us with your support and the many, many faculty members who are here. I'm not going to attempt to call them out because I'll inevitably miss them. But we have a world-class faculty, and many of them are here with us tonight. Our staff is also from the admissions office to the development office, from the external affairs office that runs all these alumni affairs, to our communications office, to our servers in the back who we all appreciate, who are with us. You know, we now, this year, have had, I'm told by Linda Harvey, so it must be right, 5 times as many events as we had just a few years ago. We're running events constantly here, and we're deeply appreciative of our staff who make it all possible. Now, part of this evening's program, you're going to be very happily moving on from me to some truly interesting speakers, and the first 2 tonight will be students. These students, like all of those who are with us today, are quite outstanding. I'm impressed by them and all they've accomplished in their time. You know, I never really tire of talking about our extraordinary students. I could not be prouder of them when I watch them give arguments in moot court, or they earn accolades or fellowships or coveted awards. When I hear from people in the community of what a positive difference they've made every day, you know, working in our clinics and serving them as lawyers under supervision of our faculty. Our 2 speakers are both exemplars of the best of Brooklyn Law School. The first speaker is McLean Crichton. McLean, why don't you make your way up here? McLean is graduating this year. He received the Robert Kahn Family Law Scholarship. McLean is an executive editor, articles editor of the Brooklyn Law Review and an Edward Sparrow Public Interest Law Fellow. He's also a research assistant to Professor Cynthia Godsoe. Next year, he will join the firm of Davis Polk and Wardell as an associate. They're very lucky to get him. McLean, why don't you come forward and give us some comments?
Thank you, Dean Allard, and thank you, fellow members of the Brooklyn Law School community. But today, thank you especially to those who have supported the Endowed Scholarship Program. In the spring of my last semester of law school, I've taken stock of everything that's led me to this point, and that is becoming a real dues-paying lawyer. My classmates and I applied to law school in late 2011 and early 2012, when every other Sunday, the Times would be sure to remind us what a terrible decision we were making. So the students in this room are either, as Dean Allard has told you, intelligent and driven leaders, or we don't read the Times. But at that point in time, the decision to go to law school was complicated. And BLS, through the generous support of its alumni community, made the decision to attend an easy one. Our student body reflects this. We are comprised of students who had their choice of law schools and decided to attend Brooklyn because of its generous scholarship programs, talented and accessible faculty, and strong clinical opportunities. I chose BLS because I wanted to be free to explore my legal interests without the looming specter of crushing student debt. This is exceptionally important in attracting students committed to public interest work, and I myself came to Brooklyn because of its vibrant public interest community. That community's vitality is due in no small part to the generous support of our alumni in the Endowed Scholarship Program, as well as the Sparrow Program and Professor Elizabeth Schneider, who so strongly supports it. In addition, the scholarship program afforded me the latitude to participate in various opportunities outside of the classroom. Again, looking back, it's hard to think that in the course of law school, I've drafted a motion and argued it in court, conducted cross-examinations, helped draft an amicus brief in the New York Court of Appeals as part of the Youth Represent Clinic, wrote an opinion for a federal judge, and also in the BLIP Clinic, advised early-stage enterprises on how to navigate the initial legal hurdles to starting a company. These opportunities have made me forever indebted to this school, and I have never taken my legal education for granted, except for right now because I'm missing a little class time. But otherwise, I'm grateful, and the gratitude I feel will surely endure. It reminds me of a divorce case I read in First Year Property about a wife who separated from her husband shortly after supporting him through business school. And she attempted to designate his MBA degree as marital property. The court ruled that though the degree was off limits, the value of the wife's support during her husband's time in school should be a deciding factor in awarding her alimony. Without the marital strife, I see our situation as similar. You all have supported our class through our education, and while our JD is ours to keep, it's only fair that we in turn become supportive alumni to show how much appreciation we have for the community of which we are still a part. Thank you again for investing in the Brooklyn community that I've truly enjoyed becoming a part of these past 3 years.
Lena Smith is our second student speaker, and she's also graduating this year. Lena, why don't you make your way up here? It's such a long distance for you to travel. Lena received the Martha Prince Scholarship, the Humphreys. She was one of the very first recipients of the Humphreys Family Scholarships. This is a new kind of scholarship. We have alumni who are very generously offering scholarships of impact to people who are coming in if they come to Brooklyn Law School as a recognition of their accomplishments as undergraduates in particular different areas. Trustee Bob Kaufman did that, and there are other trustees who've done that, and it's been very important. And she's this year's Lawrence Cicero International Business Law Fellow. She's the managing editor of the Brooklyn Law Review and is also a research assistant to Professor Brad Borden, who's very demanding, very prolific. You're laughing. It doesn't say anything about what you do in your spare time. And next year, she doesn't have any. And next year, Lena will be joining Debevoise and Plimpton as an associate. Lena, the podium is yours.
Thank you, Dean Allard, and thank you all very much for giving me this wonderful opportunity to attempt to thank all of you who have supported Brooklyn Law School and its students, including myself. As McLean mentioned, in today's legal market, the decision to go to law school is not one to be made lightly. In my own life, I took the decision to leave full-time employment and to return to school very seriously. Prior to deciding where I wanted to attend, I will admit that I was not 100% certain that law school was the right move to make, or even that it was worth the financial risk that it required. However, when I finally visited Brooklyn Law School after being admitted, it was very hard to resist its charm. The opportunity to learn from distinguished faculty, the wonderful fellowship programs, the wide-ranging internship placements, and the diverse and passionate student body, and even the upbeat and optimistic environment all confirmed not only that law school was an experience that I wanted to take on, but that Brooklyn Law School was certainly the place for me to do it. The choice to attend Brooklyn Law School became even easier when I found out that on top of these opportunities to learn from Brooklyn's faculty, participate in its journals, and in its fellowship programs, and interact with other like-minded students, Brooklyn also offered scholarships to lessen the financial risk that law school presents for many of us. I, like many students here at Brooklyn Law School, could not have attended without the scholarships offered to me. It is because of the generosity of donors like you that I've been able to seize the opportunity to not only pursue my legal education full-time, but to participate in externships, to be involved in student organizations, and to work side by side with our faculty as a research assistant. This generosity has enabled not only myself, but countless other students, many of which are here with us this evening, to work towards becoming the leaders in the legal community that they will undoubtedly become. For these opportunities, we simply cannot adequately express our gratitude, but we can start by simply saying thank you to you this evening. Thank you.
And you know, we've got 1,200 others like them. And they're all individuals and unique, and we're treating them that way, but they're all spectacular. We're having two of our scholarship donors speak tonight, and I'm very pleased to invite to the microphone Neil Brody, who's a member of the class of 1974. He and his wife, Nancy, have been longtime supporters of the school. They've established a scholarship more than 20 years ago, and also a student loan fund to assist students. It's very important. Neil is a founding partner of the New York boutique litigation firm Brody and Branch, and he serves as the firm's senior trial attorney, focusing his practice primarily on construction litigation. Neil, would you please come forward?
I'm just going to tell a simple story. I know I would not be admitted. No. I go back to '68 was when I first got my acceptance, but because of personal reasons, I couldn't attend. In '71, I did come in. It was a different school then. We were told that we only learn local law here. We only study for the bar exam. But they didn't know the truth. Some of the professors I had, watching Jerry Prince teach evidence, was unbelievable. I remember when I did study for the bar exam, and Dean McLaughlin was teaching the class, and there was an example about an auto accident with a truck and the name on the side of the truck, and they sued some company because of the name on the truck. And I went to McLaughlin at a break, and I said, "Isn't that a hearsay statement being offered for its proof? Doesn't mean they own the truck if their name's there." McLaughlin looked at me and said, "You're one of Jerry's boys, aren't you?" Made you feel good. We had a professor then, I don't know who remembers him, Dave Schwartz. Dave Schwartz taught CPLR. He taught me that every cause of action is a box, and you put the elements in the box. And as long as the elements are in the box, that's when your cause of action's ripe. You know, I use that over and over again. Jerry Leitner, who passed away as well. We do Lightner on the Cross, where reasonable men can differ. These were little examples when we left, having coffee down in the cafeteria with professors. The small school then, it was the new building then, but not like it is now. They asked me to say something why the school is important to me. It's important to me when I left there. I was a taxi driver before I left Brooklyn Law School. That didn't sound right, didn't it? That's what happens when you do this without notes. And you know, I was able to compete. I never thought anybody was better than me, ever. They may have come from better backgrounds. They may have had some stronger education. But we had the desire. I always wanted to be a trial lawyer. And I was here, and I'd go across the street, and I'd watch trials, 2-hour break in the afternoon. And I'd call up and say, did I work in a case here? And that's what I did. When my dad passed away, I set up the scholarship. I went over to Dean Traeger and said, I want to do something. But you know, when I was working at night, driving a cab, go to school in the daytime, if I had to study for exams, I didn't eat. So why can't we set something up where I could put some money in, kids can come, kids, sorry, I apologize. I'm 68 now, I can say that. When they can come, they can borrow money, short term, no interest, pay it back, and that's it. And I kind of was amused that my father, who had a second-grade education, born in Poland, 12 when his father was killed, would say, Toit and Toity Toit Street, that you may be thought that he was an impressive lawyer someday. It was good for me. And then that turned into also a scholarship fund. And I'll say, I'm just amazed. I came to the Judge Scalia evening. It was just wonderful, just wonderful. And with the support of Nancy, I am embarrassed, for so many have done so much more. So Churchill would say, so few have done so much for so many. But, sorry? I know, they keep telling me to do my estate planning here. I'm not ready to get there yet. Anyhow, I wish you all well in your pursuits. It's a touch of Brody on the law school.
You can call me Kid anytime. That's great. So our final speaker is Warren Lazaro, member of the class of 1986, who's here with, as I said, with his wife Barbie. They've been long-time and very generous supporters of the law school in many ways. One of the great ways that Warren is a supporter of the law school is by his leadership in his profession. He's so outstanding. I mean, he is, you know, the M&IA go-to guy at O'Melveny, and he is somebody, you know, that others want to be. They've established a scholarship and also funded the digital technology for the law school's lobby. Warren's a partner at the in the Silicon Valley and the New York office of O'Melveny, and a firm-wide chairman of the firm's transaction department, where his practice is focused on corporate representation of public and private technology companies, venture capital, and private equity firms and investment banks. And you know, there's a few of those in the Bay Area. We actually just saw Warren, as I said last week. We had a tremendous gathering in his law firm office. There's an explosion of people from this law school going to California. When I asked the people in the room at O'Melveny what year they graduated, it seemed as if most of the people were from the years 2000 to 2015. And of those, about half of the people had moved and come to California within the last 6 to 9 months. So there's a trend going on that we're going to be trying to ride. Warren, a few words from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here tonight with each of you. I Googled the word scholarship last night, just to get an understanding of its definition. It turns out that the word scholarship has two primary definitions. One, scholarship refers to knowledge acquired by study. And two, it also refers to money granted to a prospective scholar in order to fund the acquisition of such knowledge. And so tonight is the celebration of the fullness of scholarship at Brooklyn Law School, a celebration of both the academic achievements of Brooklyn Law School scholars and those who recognize the importance of supporting these achievements. I moved to New York the day I graduated from college, decided to work at a law firm during the day just to see if I wanted to be a lawyer and to go to law school. Turned out that I did. I wanted to go to law school. I wanted to go to law school in New York, and I wanted to practice in New York. So I did that. I applied to Brooklyn Law School. I think I had a $500 scholarship named after a gentleman by the name of Mo Morris. So it was the Mo Morris Scholarship. I worked during the day full-time at a law firm, and I also was able to borrow as much as I could on these loans. They were New York State guaranteed loans at they bore interest at 12% back then, which was a fairly high interest rate, but I managed to pay it off after about 3 or 4 years after the practice. And it was a difficult time period, working full-time, going to school full-time over 3 years. My second year was pretty hard because I was on the law review and I was looking for a job. And so it was difficult. And I think that scholarship is difficult, and it's meant to be difficult. But I don't believe that money should be the obstacle that keeps someone from a scholarship. So my wife Barbie and I worked with the law school folks to set up a fund to help students who are like me and have to work to make ends meet to attend school. It's my privilege to meet, I met earlier tonight Peter Poitier. He pronounces it like Sidney Poitier, or else I would have said Poitier or something like that. He is at class tonight, so he couldn't make it today. He's this year's scholarship recipient. If you haven't said hello to Peter, you should at some point during the next year and a half. He's halfway through law school. He won the Cali Excellence for the Future Award in Torts for earning the highest grade in his class. He's also an entrepreneur. He's the CEO and founder of Brooklyn Innovations, a company that's already got an award-winning product called My Bell, and he's also pursuing a patent application now before the Patent and Trademark Office. He's an outstanding young man who I expect will go on to do terrific things. I'm proud to be on Team Peter, and I look forward to the day when I can pitch Peter as a client as his company progresses. More than that, my wife Barbie and I look forward to the day when you can come back here and give back to our community to support the scholarship of the generation of Brooklyn Law School scholars that will come after you. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. I'm going to ask you all for help with your patience on one other thing. We have plenty of applicants for the incoming class, but we're interested in the highest quality applicants, and we can use more of those. Now, every single person in this room, the alumni, the family and friends of the alumni, and our students who are here know what it takes to succeed in this law school and in law, and you know what this law school offers. So I'm asking you all in a retail way, if you know of somebody who would be an outstanding lawyer who has not yet applied, even if they haven't taken the LSAT yet, encourage them. If you think they would be good lawyers of the highest quality, encourage them to apply. And you know, I've been saying this at alumni events, and it's actually working. We're getting here and there people of extraordinary caliber that are recommended. Now, if they're interested in applying to this law school, have them give me a phone call or send me an email. Don't convey a sense of desperation. We're not desperate. We're greedy. We want more than our fair share of the very best lawyers. And I think Neil said it best. is if you graduate from Brooklyn Law School, you are the best. So you'll be doing that family member who might come to law school, that neighbor, that friend, you're doing them a favor by pointing them in our direction. Well, with that, it's a wonderful night. We've got plenty of time, food, drink around in the back, and I encourage you all to get to be more familiar with the best asset of this law school, which is all of you. Thanks very much.